Hi everyone, Lisa Spaniak from lifelikeyomeanit.com. I thought I would do an impromptu Facebook Live today because I have been recording my video series to promote my online course that I am close to launching, which is called Overcoming Self-Sabotage. And it just inspired me, and I thought I would jump on here quickly and just talk a little bit about self-sabotage. And you are welcome. Please, if you catch this, if you can comment, share your story or ask questions, anything like that, just be part of the conversation. Always makes that go so much better. And then, of course, if you could give me a heart emoji or thumbs up or something, let me know that you're there. So what I decided I would talk to you today is what is your get? And if you've seen my video, the free webinar that I offered called 3 Steps to Finding Personal Purpose After Abuse, then you are familiar with me talking about what is your get. If you haven't seen that webinar, don't worry because I'll talk about it now. So what is your get is basically asking you to take a deeper look at yourself, to try to figure out why it is that you react and act in the ways that you do. So there are several factors to this, right? One is your deep-rooted belief systems that you would have learned as a kid. So, for example, we make decisions all the time about money. Difficult one to talk about, I know, but everybody can relate to me, I think, about our kind of money beliefs, right? And it's very common for us to grow up and have these kind of little expressions that are said about money, like, oh, he's filthy, stinking rich. And even when they're saying it in a really positive way, they're using those very negative descriptive words, right? Filthy and stinking attached to wealth. And so then that gets you actually subconsciously believing that by having money, you too are dirty in some sort of way. Right? So it's on that basic kind of concept. And all of our other experiences that we have, we can say the same sort of thing. How we believe about ourself, our self-worth, our value, how much we love and respect ourselves. All of these things have to do with deeply rooted core belief systems that we would have developed oftentimes as children, but even we can develop them as adults as well with different experiences and people that come into our lives naturally. So the bottom line here is that everything that we do is fueled by a need of ours, a need to be accepted, to be loved, to show ourselves that we are right about our happy place being a place of actual devastation. Right? I mean, I know that that sounds really counterintuitive, but for many of us, most of us, I would argue, we really do feel comfortable when we are in a place that we are putting ourselves down. And as unfortunate as that is, it is true, right? And again, that has to do with our past experiences, often stemming from childhood and these belief systems that we have, right? So for example, if I take the money example that we have been looking at, use that analogy, right? If we really believe that having money makes us filthy, stinking rich, then deep down inside, our action is going to be that when we get money, we immediately get rid of the money, right? We don't want to be filthy or stinking, so we get rid of it, right? And so this shows up in many different ways. You know, those people who really need to spend, they've got or need to save rather, they've got a drive to save, they want to save, they've got a plan in place to save, and maybe they actually succeed at saving for a little bit, and then all of a sudden they find that big purchase that they need to spend all of their money on, right? And it's not to say that those purchases are bad things or negative things. It's just the point is that they have trouble holding on to money because of that deep-rooted belief that they have. So the important thing here is that you can change this, but you can't change it if you don't understand it. And that's basically what I am all about, is trying to help people understand the reasoning behind why they do the things that they do so that they can make better choices that will serve them better. So my example that I love to use, which you maybe have heard all the time before from me, but certainly if you've seen that webinar, 3 Steps to Finding Personal Purpose After Abuse, I do talk about this in there as well. So bear with me. So my analogy I like to use is the baby that's old enough to have enough hand-eye coordination that they can hold on to their toys, but they choose not to, particularly when they're in a setting like in a high chair or someplace where they can't just reach down and pick up the toy themselves. They play with their toy, their most valued possession, and then they throw it on the floor. And then immediately they start making sounds, whether it's crying and, full out, outrage that they've lost their toy, or if it's just the little cooing sounds that they've learned to make mom or dad come running to pick up the toy. Either way, they get their need met to get the toy back. And when they get the toy back, they are elated, right? They're experiencing so much joy at being able to get that prized possession back. And so they've learned two things. They have learned that somebody will always be there to pick it up if they just let them know, right? And letting them know often in a negative way by screaming and crying and whatnot. Two, they've also learned the value of weighing out their options, right? They have learned that yes, they will experience pain, but the pain is actually worth it because it is outweighed greatly by the joy and elation that they will get by getting the toy back. And they have made a subconscious decision there to go ahead and throw the toy back on the floor so that they can, yes, of course, experience the pain and the loss, but that they will eventually experience the joy. Now, that same child that is smart enough to be able to do that is certainly smart enough to realize that by the time they're 12 or 13 years old, throwing a temper tantrum because they've thrown their own toy on the floor is not going to get the same result, right? They have learned that societal norms are not going to be very forgiving for a fully functional 12 or 13-year-old child to expect somebody else to come along and save the day, pick up the toy and give it back to them, and be okay with the temper tantrum that they are giving because of the loss of the toy. No, it's not acceptable anymore. So they have learned somewhere between being a baby and being 12 that now what they need to do is something else, something that is more socially acceptable. So, they will maybe pout, they'll sulk, they'll maybe cry, they'll maybe resort to saying mean things like, I hate you, you're ruining my life, right? Things like that. Right? They'll do those things in an attempt to try to figure out what is going to work, what's going to be acceptable. So when we allow those types of reactions to work, we give them what it is that they want, they've got no reason to change how they are going about getting that need met. They're going to continue to say, I hate you, you're ruining my life, until that no longer works. And when that no longer works, they are going to then come up with the next game plan for how they can get their needs met. Sorry, forgot to turn off the volume on my phone. So that maybe is understandable, right? It makes complete and total sense. And then we relate it to ourselves. We're no different. I'm 44 years old now, and of course, I'm still doing subconscious things to get my needs met. I am way too old to be throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the store in order to get my mom to buy me a chocolate bar, right? I'm way too old to be crying and throwing something that I love on the floor just so that I can feel elated when I get it back. But I am not too old to still have that need. I'm not too old to still have the need to be accepted, to be loved, to feel that joy, right? To get that need met. I'm just going to go about doing it in a different way now that's going to be more socially acceptable. That doesn't mean that it is going to be serving my highest good. It doesn't mean that it's actually going to help me to propel me forward. So I'm going to use a different example here, which hopefully will make some sense. So, as an adult, we do this all the time, right? We're in a job that we maybe don't exactly love, but we're good at it. So what I mean by that is that we go into work, we have our normal kind of routine. And in that routine, while it might be monotonous, while we might not, have everybody giving us the praise that we deserve for the work we do, at the same point, we are also respected for the work that we do. People know that we do a good job, and people will, at points, hopefully, give us the credit when credit is due. But we're not happy. Right? We know that we want more. We know that there's this, maybe other job that really suits us great. But then we end up like the baby weighing out his options for throwing the toy on the floor after he's just got it back. Do I take the chance and go for the job promotion or switch jobs altogether and go to a different company? Do I take that chance where I'm going to be faced with the unknown, right? The baby is faced with, oh God, what if somebody doesn't actually give it back? I'll take those odds, right? As an adult, we have learned that if we throw our things on the floor, nobody's going to come and bring them back. For us, that's ridiculous. So we've now interpreted that into nobody is going to help me. So if I go out of my way to go for this promotion or go for this other job and it doesn't work out, I have things I have to learn and I'm not actually really great at it. I have to actually build up that respect within that company or within that new kind of framework. I have to prove myself all over again. There's a chance that we may never get there. There's a chance that we may never get to the spot we're in right now, where people respect us, where they know that we can get the job done, and they give us credit where credit is due every now and then. We may never get to that position. And now we have to weigh up our odds. Is it worth taking that risk, that chance, hoping that we will eventually be able to get to the point where we are the expert in our field and we are shown that we deserve to be there and we do feel pride in ourselves? Or should we just stay where we're at in life, knowing that we come home every day feeling proud that we were able to get that job done, that we were able to do a good job, somebody came and patted us on the shoulder, or we saw an aha moment in a kid's face, or we helped somebody solve a problem, whatever it is that we're doing at work. We know that we did a great job. We come home, and even though we're not happy, we actually have met our needs. We're safe. We haven't had to put ourselves out there. We haven't had to risk anything. And at the same time, we got our need met. We feel pride in the job we were able to do because we were able to prove ourselves in that particular job. And so many people will make the choice to stay there, that they do not want to take the risk over here, even though they're unhappy. Weighing it out, their unhappiness is not as important as getting the need met to feel some sort of job satisfaction, some sort of pride in the work that they do. And when I put it in those terms, I'm sure that there are some of you that are thinking, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Of course your happiness matters. But that is exactly what's going on a subconscious level. Somebody is right now watching this is realizing, oh my God, that's me. I am actually sacrificing my happiness because I don't know what taking this step is going to lead to. And really what that comes down to is your belief in yourself, right? If you've watched some of my other Facebook Lives, you know that that is where I always end up getting is your belief in yourself. Because if you believe in yourself, if you truly are proud of yourself, if you truly have found your strength, if you truly love yourself, then it doesn't matter if you take that step and it doesn't work out the way that you want it to be. It doesn't matter if you fail, because failure is just redirection. You don't look at it in the same kind of terms. You know that you will be able to pick yourself up because you have done it before. You know that you will be able to find the lesson in that. You know that you will be able to see the opportunities that present themselves because of that, because of taking that step. And you know that if it happens to be the wrong step, and you are shown that that is not the best job for you, that you will be strong enough to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go and find that right job. Okay? And you can substitute job for anything here, right? And so at the core, all of our reactions and actions are all about getting our needs met. And our needs are all based on what our true belief is in ourselves. Every single thing that we say to ourselves, every single thing that we feel, every single judgment that we lay upon ourselves or somebody else, all of it comes back to how we feel about ourselves and what need is being met. If we are meeting the need of being accepted, of feeling good about ourselves, we're not necessarily doing it in the best way. We're making ourselves feel better, for example, by putting somebody else down, even if it's just in our own mind, right? We see somebody that looks stunning walking down the street, and in our own mind, we're like fat ankles. I've talked about this before, right? I do it. We all do it. And in that moment, the difference between being able to actually rise above that and get sucked down into it is our ability to actually recognize it for what it is. When I have that moment where I see somebody and I say, fat ankles, I immediately look back and say, oh my God, Lisa, what is making you feel down about yourself today? What is happening that you feel that in order to lift yourself up, you have to put somebody else down, right? Because it all comes back to me. What am I getting in that moment of putting down that beautiful human that is walking down that street looking fantastic, and I've got to find the flaw? It's because I have found the flaw within myself. And the need that's getting met is me feeling like I'm not as flawed. I'm not the only one, right? In some kind of weird and twisted way, I'm accepted by finding the flaws in others. And so by doing that, I can actually turn it around, and I can actually say to myself, you don't need to put somebody else down to feel good about yourself, Lisa, and start looking at what is it that's making you feel insecure today? What do you have on your plate? And then I start looking at, oh God, I've got this big talk that I've got to do. And deep down inside, I'm worried that I'm not going to resonate with everybody in my audience, right? And I'm kind of pooping my pants that there's going to be somebody that's going to stand up and actually say, you suck, right? And it's always possible. There's always possibility that somebody's not going to resonate with what I'm doing and the message that I'm putting out there. But that doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong. It means that I need to be aware of my own insecurity and what I'm going to do subconsciously without even realizing it to try to get my need met of being accepted, right? My need met of having my message heard and accepted by others. Thank you for the likes, everyone. Right? So do you see what I mean? We all do that. You don't have to be getting up in front of other people and giving a big speech for you to be able to relate to what I'm saying. It kind of goes hand in hand with imposter syndrome, doesn't it? Where you just don't, at the core, believe that you deserve to be there. Of course, I'm like everybody else. Of course, I'm going to have my moments where I go just before I go to walk up on that stage, or maybe as I'm putting together my resources to use for that particular talk. And I sit there and I think, there's surely somebody else that's better at doing this, that has more experience, more followers, a greater message, whatever. And as soon as I catch myself saying that, I realize I am putting myself down so that I can go back into that initial comfort zone, that place of feeling like I don't belong, I'm not worthy, I'm not valued, nobody's ever going to love me. And that is not my truth. It used to be my truth, so it became my comfort zone. It is not my truth now. I have proved that time and time again to myself, and I've got nobody else to prove it to, because in the end, I hate to say, nobody else matters. Nobody else matters but me, to me. Nobody else matters more to you than you. You know, take your kids aside and everything else. But if you are not coming from a place of love and value and worth and stability and a belief that you deserve the best, then you are not going to be projecting it, which means you're not going to be attracting it, and you're going to be teaching those kids exactly how to do the same thing. Scary. I know. The point of this is that with the reality, with you recognizing what it is that you are doing, comes the ability to make huge change. And change is completely possible for everybody. I don't care what you've experienced. I don't care what that negative mantra is. I don't care what situation that you are in right now. You can change, because you are not just those experiences. You're using them to define you, but that does not define you. I am not defined by the abuse that was laid upon me. I am defined by my determination and my drive to move past it, to say, because of that abuse, I have become the person that I am. And because I'm the person that I am, I'm able to do the work that I do, and I'm able to help other people. If that abuse hadn't happened, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be who I am. I'm actually at a point where I can sit back and say that I am grateful for all of the experiences that I've had, the abuse, the bullying, my own self-loathing, and everything that I did to myself to keep myself in that dark place, in that dark hole for well over a decade after we left my abuser. All of those things I am grateful for because they turned me into the person that I am today. But that was choice. And in order to make the choice, I had to see that I was making choices in the first place. And those choices were not serving me. Once I did that, I was able to make better choices that do serve me and my highest good. But it all comes down to getting your needs met and realizing what you're doing to get them met. So what's your get? I'm going to end the video shortly, but if you don't feel comfortable sharing here, I would love for you to PM me or share after the video is reposted, is recorded, and let us know what it is that your get is and what it is that you're doing to actually get it. Let's see if we can make a difference. So I'm going to let you go so that I can go and work on my 6-week online course that I'm going to launch soon called Overcoming Self-Sabotage, which is going to deal with exactly this, which I'm so excited about. You might be able to pick up on my my ridiculous excited energy right now, but I'm going to leave you now so that I can go and do this. So much gratitude for those of you that watched during live, and gratitude for those that will take a look at this after I post it as recorded. Have a tremendous day and have a little self-reflection today whenever you've got something that you are reacting to, and just take a moment and ask yourself where it's coming from. What are you getting out of reacting that way today? Bless.